Yes, as I said, on the 25th of November 2020, eligible Namibian voters will be casting their votes in the upcoming regional and local authority elections. And these elections are very crucial as they determine the local development in our respective constituencies in our region. Omaheke Radio has been covering these topics, and today we will be again speaking to Linda Baumann. Linda has been speaking to Omaheke Radio since this project have started. Linda, once again, welcome to Omaheke Radio.
Thank you very much for having for me and obviously the team of the Action Namibia. We're pleased to be back with you guys.
Yes, now as you know that people are going to vote.
Yes.
Now, what does our constitution says about the right to vote?
I think the Constitution is I believe the Constitution is very clear about demonstrating the right for people to have the conscience of practicing democracy, in the sense of ensuring that every person's voice towards what they believe, associate, and that they're able to affiliate themselves freely without prejudice, without any form of coercion, but they are allowed, because of Namibia being a secular state, that advances every Namibian citizen to be able to voice themselves during the process of elections, which would demonstrate democracy in the country.
Mm-hmm. Now, one will have a question. In general, what is a voter?
A voter is let me speak layman's language, and I don't want to talk to you about legalese and how it is written in a paper. If I think about myself as a voter, I think about Linda being a voter, that a citizen of a country who participates in the development and the human rights protection and democracy of all citizens. That basically means you and me cannot sit home without getting our voices heard, because you and me cannot complain in front of our yard that our tarred roads are broken or we are just having gravel roads. That vote means a lot for me to go and make a decision regarding an organization and or an individual, to be able to cast somebody's ideology and promises that will be able to create development, employment, but also at the same time protect my safety as a citizen. So as a voter, your role is very important, because one, you're a citizen, you've reached the age of maturity where you need to be able to make decisions not just for yourself, but your children, but broadly also for your country. So that's what a voter is. A voter's role, a voter is a person of a country who participates in a process of democracy that brings about change within their communities and development for the betterment of their country and their social environment.
Very good. Now, when it comes to access to information, how is the elections important in terms of access to information?
As a voter, it is very important that I have access to information. That basically means all these political parties who are out there, who have put themselves forth to participate in the elections, must be able to create information around what their promises and plans are for the next 5 years. But before the political parties even say something, we have an electoral act that guides the responsibility of the Electoral Commission to ensure that the public has got access to information and to understand, one, why is voting important? Why is elections important? Where can you access your voter's card by registration? And also, when is the elections taking place? And who are the ones who will be participating? And what type of elections will be taking place? Is it regional, presidential, National Assembly, and or regional council? So this is the access to information is very important, and that should be decentralized in languages that would be able to get Namibian citizens to understand why they should go as a voter, to ensure that their voices are heard and that they have access to these political parties or individuals information about what their dream is, and so that we are able to make conscious decisions to vote and participate during elections, but through that that's how access to information gives me some knowledge and some understanding and skill how to participate in the process. So that is why access to information is important in elections.
Very good. Now, especially here in Omaheke region, especially in Khababes, people are saying this election will be different. What is different in this year's election comparing to the other last year election?
I think it's very straightforward. Last year we had the electronic machines, the EVMs, and those electronic machines was when we were casting it on a machine. But now, in these regional elections, we are casting by ballot. We're going back to old school. So that's a great difference in terms of elections of last year and this year. Also, at the same time, last year it was about national assembly and presidential elections. Now it's about the regional and local authority elections. That talks about constituency basis. It talks about who are the ones that are coming out within our communities who have promises to be able to bring about change at the same time. And it also at the same time, which political parties want to govern the local authorities by promising a holistic approach of development, inclusion, and non-discrimination. So that's a big bit of a difference. And also, the other difference is that last year's regional and local authority elections we didn't really have independent candidates, but this year there's an eruption of new political parties, and also at the same time individuals that are coming out. So that shows democracy shifting in a way where people are having access to information. They understand how important it is to participate, but also at the same time they are taking responsibility to ensure that Namibians are understanding how and where and how to participate for the betterment of all of us.
Now, speaking of independent candidates, we are seeing that this year there are a lot of independent candidates. How will this affect the results in this upcoming election?
You see, what is interesting for me is I take it in two levels. One, you have political parties, you have independent candidates, but also at the same time you need to ratio these independent candidates by gender also. Because that also speaks a lot about the issues of equality in the country, or whether politics is again just a man's world that we find around. So I think the fact that we have a lot of individual candidates, it clearly demonstrates that people want to take the reign in their own hands and be able to show that there are other citizens that can develop the country. Mm-hmm. At the same time, also, there is the other length of discussion that requires us to be able to navigate around what these different independent candidates' agendas are, political and social and economic developmental agendas are. Because for me, it's really difficult to align the narrative of having so many individual candidates, yet I don't have a clear strategic direction of where my constituency will be able to be developed. So, and I think that's where access to information is again coming in. At the last end that I want to bring about, it's the importance around navigating the age groups and the emergence of young people in this. Yes. That also says a lot about development, that the youth are now participating in political spaces, that they're now narrating a generational wave of we want to participate, we want to be party to making decisions, and we want to make sure that our voices are heard. And that says a lot. We must also acknowledge that the media as the fourth estate has been playing a critical role in ensuring that Namibian citizens are having access to information, but also understand their right to freedom of expression, but finally also their right to information in a very broad context, meaning that you look at all the online platforms. Young people are speaking. They are out there. Back in the days, politics was meant for a complete different wave and generation that we are looking at. But now you can actually hear your young cousins of 17 years old talking politics, while you and I back in the days used to do it, and until our age today. Mm-hmm. So I see great change. I see transformation, and I see hope. But I'm just hoping that the new birth of this new leadership is going to be different and better for the betterment and prosperity of our country.
Now, coming down in terms of local authority, how or what is this significance that these regional council and local authority elections have on the local people?
I think, as I said earlier, it plays a very critical role, because now the fact that the faces are changing on the ballot boxes and on the walls and the posters, you now see more familiar faces who are not imported into your area or who are just not picked because they live in that area. You actually see young people participating in dialogue, whether they are correct in the way they formulate their arguments. That's different. That's a different discussion. But for me, what I like is the fact that you see representation within our own communities, and you'll ask yourself, oh, Simon also has a political flair to it. So let's hear what Simon has to say, compared to Petrus, who's been in the game for 15 years. So that also plays a very big role, that the local authority has actually brought an emergence of young people who would be building themselves towards National Assembly and also towards presidential participation. So I think that it is the right that independent candidates start at local authority and regional level compared to a presidential level. Because, but of course, that is the different discussion in line of what are we scared of. But I think the best way to run for greater position in politics, it is based on starting at a smaller edge of politics and engagement, but also emerging towards success.
Very much. Now, Ms. Linda, if you have any word to the people that are going to cast their votes, the importance again of voting locally.
I always say to my children in the house and my family, there is no way you can point a finger to your local authority or your councillor or your president or your government if you didn't make the time to go tick that box. Yes, sometimes you ask yourself whether election is, as much as it's a democratic process, it also puts you in a place where you sometimes feel that you are politically being coerced to vote because there's no option for other or do not agree with any. Because that's a discussion that doesn't take place in the country, which is the arguments that the young people are saying, but I don't want to vote, I don't agree with any of these people, where can I tick a box? You see, but that is another level of discussion. But I think what is important for young people to know, and our families, our elders, that know that you cannot complain if you haven't participated, to be able to ensure you at least get your voice heard. I always say to my as I do my human rights work also, usually some parties, some individuals might have 5 strategic pillars. If you agree with 3, you might not agree with the other 2, but that at least gives you an option to go cast a vote. Not for you to decide, I will not vote anymore. And that is what is important. So go out there, make your voice heard, get yourself to participate, not just at voting level, but also keeping those that you have voted accountable. And track the development within your communities, and calling to shows like this and speak about the issues of development, because only you and I can make Namibia a better place, but also only you and I can bring our issues to those leaders in position for them to be able to realize change is needed for the betterment of all Namibians.
Only you and I can make Namibia a better place. Well,
only
Linda,
you and I.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Until next time, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very, very much.